All right, so I just checked my financial projections for this month, and right now we are on pace to do $445,000 in cash collected, meaning deposited into our bank account this month, which is pretty crazy. I'm 23 years old. A year ago, my business was doing $30,000 a month, and we've more than 10x'd since then to now almost doing $450,000 in a month. But if you were to ask me how I would describe the feeling of what that feels like, I would say I feel completely numb. I feel no emotion towards it. I don't feel happy. I don't feel sad. I literally feel nothing. Okay? If I would have told myself that that's how it feels to hit record months and that's how it feels to do multiple six figures in a month 5 years ago or when I was first getting started, I wouldn't have understood why that is. And you might be thinking that same thing. How on earth do you not feel any emotion doing that much revenue and growing your business that quickly? And I'll explain why, right? So that you understand it, so that when you're at this level, right, and you're hitting big months, you know what to expect, but also how you can get in a state of mind and a position where you don't really feel emotion either way, and how that actually makes you a more effective business owner or just overall more effective person. So I'm going to kind of break this down and explain this. All right, cool. So I'm going to kind of mop this out on a whiteboard and explain it. So essentially, what you got to realize is whenever you have a business, right, you're going to have two different types of things that happen. Now, this is obviously oversimplified, but you'll get the point. So you're going to have things that are really great, right? You're going to have great things that happen, like record months, etc. And you're also going to have shit things that happen, all right? So let me tell you some of the great things that have happened in the last month or so for me. And I'll also tell you about some of the shit things that have happened in the last month or last week. So great thing that happened, right? Well, for one, we'll do little bullet points. For one, we're on pace to hit a record month, right? Amazing, right? This sounds so awesome. 445K. Another great thing, we sponsored an event, did a speech. The speech went really well. So I spoke in front of like 355 people in my niche, and they said we had like the best speech there. So successful speech. What else? Sales team is doing well. Hired a new marketing specialist. Right? A lot of things are going good, you know. But that's if you just look at the great things. But what most people don't tell you about is all of the shit things that are constantly happening. Even when you're doing record months and everything seems like it's going great on the outside, they don't tell you about all the shit things. Like, for example, one of my number one employees got lung cancer and is like in and out of the hospital. And she does a lot of the work within our company with the clients and making sure that things are getting done for them on time. She's basically like an executive assistant for us. All of a sudden, turns out she has lung cancer. You know, she doesn't even know if she's going to live. That might be a bit of an over-exaggeration, but it's a really bad situation. Like, we had to put together a GoFundMe to make sure that she could pay for her surgery. She lives in the Philippines. So not employees, but one of our employees got lung cancer, and now like everything that's going on there is just like with the back end, it's just a massive headache, right? So I hired another VA that I've worked with for 5 years, right? And this VA in particular accidentally deleted all of the contacts inside of our CRM, okay? So all 37,000 contacts got deleted inside of our CRM, which, as you can imagine, was an absolute shit show, okay? Every single appointment that was on the calendar, canceled. All of those leads got an email that their appointment had been canceled. Every single lead that was inside of an automation was taken out of the automation. So like, it was basically like Y2K, but just inside of my business with one simple misclick of a button. Total disaster, total nightmare, right? This literally just happened like 2 days ago. Fucking sucked, right? Our number 2 closer had 2 bad weeks and then decided she was no longer going to work at our business, no-showed a bunch of calls, and then just left. So number 2 closer left the company. Oh, man. I mean, I could keep going on this. Our ROAS is not as high as we need it. Like, you kind of get the point, right? I'm just giving you the highlights, the things that come to mind. So essentially, what happens is if you were to map this out like on a graph in terms of the highs and the lows, right? Let's say this little dotted line is baseline, okay? This means no emotion whatsoever. Now, what happens is throughout time, as time passes, you have really shitty things that happen, right? Like, for example, one of your employees tells you that they have cancer. Horrible thing that happens, right? And then all of a sudden, let's say you have like a really good week. And this line is basically like your emotions as a business owner. All of a sudden you have a really good week. And it's like, okay, great. Now I feel happy again. This is great. Everything's going good. And then next thing you know, you look at your advertising spend and like the ROAS starts to dip. And it's like now all of a sudden you're down here, right? And then next thing you know, you hire somebody that comes on and they're great and you're super excited about them, and then all of a sudden you're back up here, right? And then the cycle repeats, and then you go back down. And then you go right back up, right? And so like you're constantly riding this cycle of emotional highs and lows, which is extremely exhausting for people that don't know how to handle their emotions, right? But what happens is when you zoom out here, right? If you plotted this over a long enough period of time, right? It ends up like as you can see, I stretch this image out, right? If I stretch it out enough, you won't even see the fluctuation, right? You won't even see the negative and you won't even see the positive. It basically, like if we zoomed out enough from here, and let's see if I can do this. If we just stretch this line out and zoom out, eventually it literally just looks like a straight line. Like you won't even see the ups and downs. But the key is when you're so zoomed in on the day to day, it looks like this massive fluctuation in your emotions, right? Massive fluctuation in your emotions from a day to day experience. So my point is, right, when something good happens to an experienced business owner, they're thinking to themselves, right? It's one of the great quotes that comes from the Bible. This too shall pass, right? This too shall pass. And so like when you have this record month, you're on pace to have a record month. I know that something shit is going to happen soon. Okay? And the other thing too is when something shit happens, like every single one of our leads inside of the CRM gets deleted, which in case you're new in business, that's a nightmare. It's terrible. Like that's a 5-figure mistake that we're going to get shafted on. When something like that happens, you get pissed off in the moment, but the key is like you can get mad, you can get pissed off. The key is how fast can you get back to baseline, right? The person that can basically maintain like a level of stoicism throughout the ups and downs of business, which are absolutely inevitable. There's nothing you can do. But if you can maintain like a stable level of emotions, you're consistently at baseline, you're going to make better decisions, which means you're going to have better outcomes and you're going to make more money faster. So when I say I feel numb and I don't feel anything, the reason why is because I know this too shall pass. We're going to have a bad week and it's all going to return to baseline. But what happens is over time, as you continue to get better and better, the baseline continues to rise, right? What's normal continues to rise. So to sum this up, guys, your goal as a business owner, when the good things happen, expect bad things to happen soon. Don't get too excited, okay? Celebrate the wins. I'm not saying don't celebrate the wins, but don't get too excited and don't get on your high horse. I've done that before, and then all of a sudden you get something else that comes up and it's like, oh my gosh. And when things get bad, when something terrible happens, it's not the end of the world. You're going to return back to baseline. And the better you can control your emotions to not get too excited and too worked up when things go good, and the better you can control your emotions to not get too pissed off and too upset when things go bad, the faster you're going to progress and the more effective you're going to be. That's it.